welcome to the deep dive. We got some really interesting info from you about this whole concept of workations.
Ah, yes, workations. It's definitely a hot topic.
It really feels like it's captured people's imagination, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This idea of, well, mixing up your work routine with being somewhere new.
Especially for folks who can work remotely, yeah. It feels like a genuine shift, not just a passing fad.
Absolutely. More than just working from home, but fancier. It's about lifestyle, productivity.
And it taps into that desire we all have, I think, wanting professional success and personal growth, maybe seeing a bit of the world.
And it's fascinating how the tech is catching up, actually helping make it happen.
Right. Enabling it, supporting it actively.
Which brings us nicely to what we wanted to dig into today. You mentioned this new online portal, tripoffice.com.
That's the one, tripoffice.com. It seems really focused on making workations, well, easier to plan.
So it's basically an interactive map, yeah, showing accommodations that are good for working remotely.
Exactly. And the scale is pretty impressive. They're listing around 50,000 places, hotels, apartments.
50,000. Wow. Okay, let's unpack that for a second.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And these aren't just any listings, are they? The key thing seems to be the focus on actual workspaces.
Proper setups, ergonomic chairs, desks, things you actually need.
Because, let's be real, balancing a laptop on your knees on a hotel bed, not great for the back.
Or for productivity. It sounds nice in theory, but the reality.
It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So this portal highlights places that get it.
Yeah, it addresses that practical need. It's not just about a nice view. You need to actually function comfortably, effectively.
And what's clever, you mentioned, is the visual aspect.
Right. They often show photos of the workspace itself, so you can zoom in, have a look, and get a proper feel for it.
Ah, okay. So you're not just guessing based on a standard hotel room picture.
Precisely. It removes a big chunk of the uncertainty. Will this place actually work for working?
It's like they've anticipated the practical hurdles. The dream is working seaside. The reality check is needing a decent chair and Wi-Fi.
And their goal seems to be bridging that gap, making it easier to blend focused work time with, well, the fun parts of being away.
Yeah, the leisure side of it.
By curating these work-ready spaces, they're lowering the barrier to entry for people who might be interested, but, a bit wary.
It connects to that bigger picture, doesn't it? Integrating work and life more intentionally. Maybe making it more rewarding.
Potentially, yes. It's part of that evolution.
So where are these 50,000 places mostly located? You mentioned the U.S. has a huge chunk.
Yeah, the U.S. is leading by quite a margin, almost 31,000 listings there.
Why do you think that is? Just a bigger market?
Probably a mix of things. Large domestic travel scene, maybe a more established remote work culture in some sectors already.
Makes sense. And after the U.S.?
Asia's got a strong presence, around 10,000, then Europe with 8,000.
Okay.
And smaller numbers, but still significant. In South America, about 1,500, and Australia with roughly 1,100.
It really shows it's a global thing, though.
Yeah.
It's not confined to one region.
Definitely. And it's not just the usual big cities or business hubs either.
Right. TripOffice apparently highlights some more exotic spots.
Yeah, places like the Caribbean, Thailand, the Philippines, Majorca, the Greek islands too.
Okay, now that sounds appealing. Imagine swapping your usual office view for, well, turquoise water.
It's certainly a different vibe than the spare room office.
Definitely. And that appeal, it's not just the scenery, is it?
No, it's also the motivation factor. Having something genuinely exciting to do after you log off.
Right.
Exploring, relaxing.
Yeah, experiencing a different culture, maybe just a walk on the beach during your lunch break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a key part of why people are drawn to this.
Which brings us to the why. Why are workations becoming such a big deal? The info we saw pointed to well-being, work-life balance.
Yeah, that's a huge driver. The source material really emphasizes the positive kick you can get from just being in a new environment.
Like a mental refresh.
Sort of, yeah. Psychologically, novelty can boost mood, even cognitive function sometimes. Shakes up the routine.
And there was a point about burnout decreasing since remote work became more common during the pandemic.
That's right. The context is that remote work might already be helping with burnout, and workations are maybe like the next level of that. A more immersive break from the daily grind, even while working.
It just makes intuitive sense. Even if you're working the same hours, being somewhere different can feel like a real mental shift.
And having those little moments of enjoyment woven into the day, that beach walk, exploring a local market, stuff you can't easily do back home.
And the benefits aren't just fuzzy feelings, are they? The source linked this to actual business outcomes.
Yes, that was interesting. It suggested more relaxed, maybe more engaged employees perform better, higher productivity, more motivation.
Even loyalty to the company.
Potentially, yeah.
Yep.
It creates this possible virtuous cycle. Happy, productive employees benefit the business, which can then support more flexibility, maybe.
Okay, but here's something that seemed a bit counterintuitive. Wouldn't a new, exciting place be more distracting?
You think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But the source argued it could actually boost creativity and focus. Fewer interruptions. How does that work?
Well, the thinking is when you're away from your normal routine, a lot of the usual distractions just disappear.
Like household chores or social obligations you might have at home.
Exactly. That stuff isn't there demanding your attention, so it frees up mental space, bandwidth.
Ah, okay. So less mental clutter allows for deeper focus on the actual work.
That's the idea. And sometimes the slight unfamiliarity of the new place can even, paradoxically, sharpen your focus because you're not on autopilot.
Interesting. Okay, so Trip Office is this practical tool making it easier, and we see the appeal for individuals. But what about the bigger picture? This trend is really growing, right? It's not niche anymore.
Definitely not niche. The source was clear. Workations are gaining serious momentum, especially after the pandemic normalized remote work for so many.
And we're seeing countries react to this.
Yes, actively trying to attract these digital nomads.
Right, those digital nomad visas you mentioned, Estonia, Barbados, Portugal were examples.
That's a big signal. Governments recognizing this isn't just tourism, it's a different way of working and living.
And they want a piece of the action, presumably.
Exactly. These visas give people legal status to live and work remotely there for longer periods. We're talking 6 months, maybe up to 2 years sometimes.
So it formalizes things. It's not just working under the radar on a tourist visa.
Right. It legitimizes it, and for the countries, it's a chance to attract talent, skills, maybe get an economic boost without the long-term commitment of traditional immigration.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've taken a deep dive into workations, kicked off by looking at this Trip Office platform.
Yeah, a tool connecting remote workers with genuinely work-friendly places all over the world.
From the familiar to the pretty exotic, with a focus on practical needs like desks.
50,000 options strong.
And we've explored the why, the benefits for well-being, maybe less burnout, potentially even better focus.
And the link to performance and motivation.
Plus, we've touched on the wider trend it's growing, and places are adapting with things like those digital nomad visas.
It really highlights how tech and changing work cultures are intertwined, doesn't it? Trip Office feels like a direct response to that growing demand.
It definitely makes you wonder about what's next. More platforms like this, more countries jumping on the visa bandwagon.
Seems likely, the way things are trending.
And maybe the big question for everyone listening is, thinking about all this, what kind of place really sparks your best work, your well-being? Could a change of scenery, like a workation, be the key to unlocking something new for you?
It's definitely food for thought in this flexible, evolving world of work.